today, I'm going to be talking to you about memorization in medical school, how important it may or may not be, and strategies centering around it. If you depend on memorization to do well on exam, or are curious about how effective that strategy will be in medical school, I'm here to set the record straight and let you know all about memorization. Continue watching this video for tips and tricks to improve your learning experience. Knowing yourself and your learning style is very important for all aspects of life, including your entry into medical school. It is understandable that you would wonder whether memorization is a useful tool in medical school, especially if it is a tool that you have been using in your academic career leading up to this point. On the other hand, if you find yourself struggling with rote memorization, it is important to learn how integral it will be during your time in medical school so that you can learn strategies to improve it. Hey guys, I am Dr. Ava and I am an internal medicine hospitalist who started medical school not knowing the best strategies. Medical school involved a lot of memorization. From definitions to diagram, a lot of the information you learn, especially year one, requires you to memorize and recall facts. It is a constant throughout all 4 years. Coming into medical school was a bit of a challenge. While some of the material in later years required more intuitiveness, the first year had less of that. Part of the reason is because the other years built on what you learned in the first. Much of the information coming your way in the first year is then built on in the following years, which means that it is vital to keep on top of the work immediately. It will greatly help in the second and third years if you focus and put work in during your first. Another reason that lessons become more intuitive the longer that I was there was because the information in later years focused more on application. While in the first year, the straight facts are the elements most focused on, practical application is more of a priority in the years afterwards. But without having the base knowledge, applying the information becomes definitely more difficult. But what are some ways that you can deal with the issue of memorization? If it is so important, then how do you improve the skill? With the influx of information that comes with medical school, it can be challenging to sift through the most important bits to then recall later. Well, one strategy is to attach memories or stories to certain facts that you may have otherwise had difficulty with. For example, by associating certain chemicals with images or tales, whether imagined or real, you can improve your recall. Particularly when you are learning about parts of the body, this storytelling method can be helpful. Something to do when learning parts of the body is to diagram it out yourself. You can imagine one part flowing into the next and follow the pathways visually. If you already learned visually, then it's even better to use this method. You can almost picture the veins as a road or a track along which the vehicle of your memory will travel. You also don't need to attach memories that are just in your mind to the information. You could use a strategy where you attach images of things in the room with you so that looking at the items will jog your memory. For example, if there's a certain scratch on the board or a tree outside that is consistently visible, you can start to associate certain bits of information with each to then help you later. In the same way, color associations could help you. If certain areas of the room contain colors, you can start to correlate with areas of the body or other information you are learning, then it could be a handy tool, especially for those that are visual learners. When you are learning about specific illnesses and medication, you can try to think of someone you know that has either taken the medication or even suffered the illness when you are learning of it in class. If you and the other are both comfortable, you could possibly talk to them about it, as that can also then be a concrete memory for you to look back on when needed. Another way that you can make connections is by mixing the topics of your study. Hopping from one topic to another serves two purposes. The first purpose is to keep your mind fresh for longer. By flipping between the two, I found that at least for me, I was interested for longer periods of time, as it felt like I was learning new information every time I switched the topic. This also serves as a secondary purpose. You can start thinking about the information critically by making connections between the topics as you go from one to another. If you form intentional links between the different materials, you can then use those links on exams to remember the information. You can also try to recall the location you were in when you studied the information if you were struggling to remember it. Sometimes picturing where you were can jog your memory and act as a catalyst for recalling what you need to know. As I have discussed in other videos, study methods also affect your ability to recall information. Having a schedule ahead of time to stick to is important to retain the material. Do not cram at the last minute, but rather work repetitively over a length of time to start the memorization process. Online or physical flashcards are a great tool to learn and help you with your memorization. I do find physically writing things down over and over helps me a bit more than using the online flashcards, but those have also worked. It is important to learn during all periods of your life. During medical school, memorization is just one of many different tools you will use to succeed on exams, albeit an important one. You should put effort into improving the vital skill and implement some of the possible strategies that I've mentioned to get the most out of your study time. I believe that you can do well as long as you put the time. And if you need extra help or a push, get in touch with me for my one-on-one support. In my live online mentorship, you and I together will discuss and develop strategies that work for you to successfully manage all the aspects that come with studying to become a doctor. Click on the link below. See you next time.